Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.
Hey, fine folks, this is Freedom Fighter, and welcome to Saturday Night Dialogues. Thank you, Brunette Grand, for that wonderful, amazing vocals for Wiley. Happy belated birthday, Wiley. For those that want to know, Wiley accepts your kind donations. Fresh kale from his local Kroger's will get you the address, the P.O. box, before the call is over. He'll be very appreciative. Just joking. Folks, it is January the 25th, 2025. Saturday Night Dialogues. We got a jam-packed, amazing call for you tonight. We're going to show you in writing with receipts of showing how President Trump is preparing the banking system for the RV. Let's jump into some prayer and get this call kicked off because it's going to be jam-packed. Father God, we thank you as always for your mercy, for your grace, for your love. We ask that you allow us to be able to bring forth this message on your behalf and allow your words to work through us, not just to us, but through us, so that the people will be able to receive it in your glory. We ask that you continuously protect and guide everyone, no matter where they are, what they're doing. We just ask for your mercy upon them and their safety. For anyone that is afflicted under the weather and feeling ill in any way, we ask that you give them healing mercy as well. And we ask that you, of course, allow the people that are listening to this call to open their minds and open their hearts so that they're able to receive this message of truth and facts and allow it to resonate with them so that they can make the best decisions on their behalf regarding this investment. In your precious name we pray. Amen. Amen. All right, folks. Real quick, some quick announcements. Don't forget 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Monday through Saturday, we have the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues Room that is open, where we bring forth the latest and the greatest daily updates and break them down in the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues Room from Goldilocks. Any questions that people have regarding the articles, regarding the process, that's where we share in as well. That is where the amazing Wiley, myself, and the awesome tribe share the process for folks to become prepared for the RV by establishing relationships with the actual bankers that will be responsible for not only exchanging their currency, but also the wealth managers who will be responsible for helping them to grow and manage their wealth for generations to come. So that is the room, folks. And we share the 8 steps in that room where you can come to get them. But also, we highly encourage you when you come into the room to read the room, learn what is being shown in the room before you just come in and just popping out questions, asking, for dates, rates, where's the questions for the wealth manager, so forth and so on. We will walk you through the process, but it's best that you sort of familiarize yourself when you come to the room. The higher learning call with Anastasia is on Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Last Thursday's call was What Are You Afraid Of? All right. And that was a jam-packed call. We have Dee's Room, tons of articles Dee shares in her room throughout the day of what's happening throughout the global banking system. And then the Crypto Finance Room, Crypto Finance News with Dave Big Dog. If you have any questions related to cryptocurrencies, that is the room for you to be in to ask your detailed questions. Dave does an amazing job there. Then, of course, we have the Goldilocks Global Banking News podcast on YouTube that many of you are listening to right now. This is where we bring you the daily updates via audio, via podcast by Goldilocks on the daily articles that Goldilocks shares. As a matter of fact, tonight you're going to receive, receipts and proof of what Goldilocks has been sharing for the last 5 years, preparing us exactly for what President Trump expressed and shown this week. You'll know what I'm talking about when we get to it. Excuse me. We have some amazing members tonight that are also going to share their personal updates on their bank appointments with their bankers and wealth managers. And folks, just so that you know, it is not an overnight process to establish relationships. There's no shortcutting to this. So you've heard many, many members share their updates, and you're going to hear some tonight. It's not cookie cutter, so it's a process. And if you fall, bump your head, walk in there with guru breath, you come back, we'll open your mouth, put some breath mints in there, some spearmint, or any other fresh mint in your mouth, and get you right so you can go back and not stink up the joint. All right, and so we will help you. Let's jump into it. We're going to have, I don't see Mrs. D. Mrs. D, if you are here, if you can raise your hand, we're going to come to you. I think I just saw you. Oh, yeah, there you go. Then we'll come to Ty, and then the beautiful garlic stream bean. Mrs. D, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm great. How are you all?
Oh, well, all is well. All is well. You posted into the room an amazing update. As a matter of fact, folks, just so you know, we do have 3 people tonight. The call for next Saturday is already booked with members who are going to share their updates. We have so many throughout the week. It's just amazing. So none of you have heard from Mrs. D. So I'm going to read what she wrote into the room. She wrote, "Hi, group. I said yesterday that I would report back today. I just got back from my second meeting with the higher ups at Bank A. Loved it. This is the one. Just because something isn't the biggest doesn't mean it's not the best fit. It was such a great feeling to understand his language and the terms he used to describe how he and his partner, as employees of this bank, do what they do. Of note," she says, "they only will take a total of 50 to 60 families as clients because that's all they feel comfortable being able to serve. I wish I could regurgitate here everything he said. My husband couldn't be at this meeting, but after I share with him my notes and with peace I have in my gut about it, we will be signing the next time we meet with him. Ha! They are off to Florida next week to take their clients there golfing. Last week, they took some clients skiing. They have a solid go-to team as it relates to CPA, tax advisors, and work with local trust attorneys. It is just such a good fit for us. Until we are able to divulge all our assets and what they have to work with, we can sign with them, but they will wait to open investment accounts. However, once we lay our cards on the table, it's go time as it relates to having everything set up. The original wealth manager with whom we met last week was there for part of the meeting. And listen, folks, this is the part you got to pay attention to. what Mrs. D shares. She shares, he, meaning the wealth manager, happened to slip up and mention foreign currencies out of his mouth. And I may have raised my eyebrows and gave a slight audible sound. Did I get that right, Mrs. D?
You did.
Now,
You did.
1 second, real quick, beloved. Folks, what she mentioned is very important. She mentioned they only will take 50 to 60 families as clients. I want you to understand this is very important. This is why Wiley, myself, and Goldilocks are hitting this home to make sure you understand this. There is not going to be an abundance of wealth managers available when it's time to exchange. Many wealth managers have a limit of how many clients they will take and how much money they will manage. Do not be under the impression in any way, shape, or form that it is best for you to wait until the RV happens to run to the bank, exchange your currency, and say, hey, can I meet a wealth manager? Well, most likely, especially with how much our members are having success and following the steps, these wealth managers may not be available. I do not care if Jesus Christ came down and said to you, oh, child, you can just wait for the RV to happen and you'll be just fine to get a wealth manager. Say, thank you, Jesus, but no thank you, Jesus. I'm going to establish a relationship. I want you all to understand this. Wiley, myself, and Goldilocks, we know the finance business extremely well. We are giving you our experience, knowledge, and understanding, and we're only trying to make sure we prepare you. So, I just wanted to preface that. Okay, young lady, Mrs. D. Great details, my Lord.
Yes, well, we both figured out that I already talked too much, so.
That's okay. We'll get through this together tonight. So don't worry. Now, how long have you been a member of the room?
I honestly don't know, but not terribly long.
Okay.
I have a friend who had mentioned Mr. Wiley Morgan, and she had also mentioned Goldilocks, and so I found the Goldilocks QFS Conversations room, after which I then found all of the other rooms, including the Dialogues room and the priceless Wiley's Notes and Wisdom something. And that's how I found it. So I would say specifically to actually figure out getting on the Dialogues room, it took me a little while to understand it, because by the time I was able to get on the room late at night after I was done with everything, the room was closed. And I'm like, how is it that everybody is supposed to? So I finally figured it out. I would say probably 2.5, maybe 3 months for the Dialogues room specifically.
Okay, gotcha. And let me just say, congratulations. You did a tremendous job. You obviously were sitting back, lurking, watching, taking notes, and then you started the process to establish your relationships. And oh my God, you literally feel as if this is the wealth manager you're comfortable with.
I do.
Awesome.
We met with a private banker and a wealth manager at what is considered to be the largest bank in the world, with assets under management. And it was a very fine meeting. It went 2 hours long, but it was nothing exciting. It was rather come see, come saw. It was neutral. And so we walked away and went, well, that's a possibility. We'll just tuck that in our back pocket. We didn't know what to expect, quite honestly, because it was our first meeting. And then 2 weeks ago, a week ago Friday, we met with what I call Bank A. They are actually one of the banks with whom we have a checking account in the first place. I mean, we've had one here locally since, 2019 or so. And so, I told my husband, I think we need to make a phone call, send an email, send the questions, and see what develops. And he was able to be at that first meeting. And the first meeting was with a wealth manager. The financial advisor could not be there. He had a death in the family the day before. So it was just with the wealth manager. And he was a very nice young man. He spoke with us about an hour and a half. And it felt great. It felt really comfortable. He was so easygoing. In fact, not to tell too much information, but my husband is a professional actor out here, and the wealth manager bought tickets for his whole family to go to the show in August. Wow. So it was a nice conversation, and we didn't just talk about this kind of thing. So that was great. And when we got near the end of that conversation, I mentioned and reiterated again, the whole reason that we're here is to interview wealth managers and to find the dream team that works for us and what we want to accomplish as far as our goals and our plans. But we've had some financial windfalls that have kept us under the $1 million mark as far as liquid assets. And so we've never dealt with monies to the degree that we're going to be coming into. And we need experts, things we don't know. And that's their wheelhouse. And we need a whole team of them. And he's like, oh, then you need to talk to this guy who happens to be the vice president of and wealth advisor of the bank. And so that's who we met with yesterday.
Okay. Excellent. And it sounds like it went extremely well. You were more comfortable with this firm, more so the first one that you went to that you pretty much was
very much so.
So are you going to interview any others, or this is it?
For right now, we are going to act as though this is going to be our team. Okay. And we might, going forward, perhaps consider others, but we think it's important to lock this in while we are able to.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Makes sense. Totally. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
And now I know the $100,000. No, let me rephrase that. The $100 million question is foreign currencies came up.
Yes. And it was a miracle that it wasn't me. However, I am a very expressive person in my face. And sometimes my face can say everything without me even opening my mouth. Right. Even though my focus was on the new gentleman with whom I was meeting.
You're meeting with.
The other one that we had met with last week. What happened was the new one, his name is Grant, the vice president. He was saying, so if this is coming from an inheritance, we'll need to do certain things and anticipate certain things as it relates to taxes and so on and so forth. And I said, it's not. And he went, he just kind of cocked his head to the side and he went, okay. And he started to talk a little bit more, but Sean, the first man, was just clicking away on his computer and he piped in with foreign currencies. And at that point, I just went, and I squeaked a little bit, like I don't know if he even heard me. I don't know if he was looking at me and saw my face, but if he picked up on it, there you go.
He was testing you.
I don't know. And so that he didn't mention that.
Yeah.
So I was kind of excited about that.
Yeah.
And I just keep hearkening back to what, Wiley has said in the past about, these are professionals that have gotten burned in the past by what they have divulged. And so now they have to play it ever so much more closely to the chest.
That's right.
And only not until you develop a relationship based on mutual trust will they even, think about opening that door with you as far as conversation and stuff. So
Exactly. Wiley, you want to jump in here? Birthday boy, happy belated birthday.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, if I get boxes of kale shipped to me, so help me. I'm not
Oh, that's funny.
It's great. great. First of all, let me do a shout out to Lady Unique for filling in for me in my absence last week on short notice. I
Yes.
so appreciated her stepping up and helping
Yeah,
you
she
out
was
last week.
she was awesome. She was
Yeah.
awesome.
Miss D, great for you. And you're right. A lot of these wealth managers got burned because these gurus went to them and said, "Hey, are you going to be doing this?" They'd be like, "Yeah, we're going to do that." So they get back on their platform and they go, "Hey, I just talked to wealth manager so and so at this bank, at this location, in this state, this city, and this address, and they're saying yes."
Wow.
And
So they
you can
doxed them.
imagine what happened at that bank.
Mhm.
My goodness.
Yeah, so now these bankers are a little reticent, and when people come in with that, they aren't coming in professionally, and they're just asking that guru stuff. They really turn away pretty quick because that's the memorandum they've got. Don't engage.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So, but good for you. And also, it's not about going out to get the biggest and best out there. It's going out and getting the best for you. Who you
Right.
sync with, who you gel with, who you feel you had a rapport with, because you're going to be dealing with this person a lot. I mean, you're going to
Right.
be adjusting, you're going to be doing an annual tune up, you're going to be talking to them every quarter, sometimes every month until you kind of get things ironed out a bit and say, "Hey, I'm not happy with that. Is there anything a little more aggressive? Hey, I want to slow down a bit. I'm not so happy being so aggressive." So find somebody you work with, find somebody at your pace, and you did great. If this is who you want, this is who you sync with and gel with, man,
Mhm.
build that rapport with them. And there's always time to diversify.
That's
I
right.
agree. And we don't live in a metropolitan area. We're actually sort of about 15 miles away from what you would call a sort of city.
Yeah.
And I have no desire to go into a big metropolis at this juncture. So um, what he told me was that they are in a unique position to be a large enough organization, bank, to have many things to offer their clients as far as instruments and vehicles to do all these things we want to do, but small enough to have that boutique feel, that
Mhm.
personal feel. And it's kind of a really nice balance. He even said that he and his partner, though they are employees of the bank itself, they interviewed several banks and organizations to see who they wanted to work with, including the big one, shall we say. And they did not end up going there. They really found that for what they wanted to offer as to their clients, this place was the best fit because it was sort of the best of both worlds. So he was kind of interesting to listen to.
And that's so funny you say that, because even they were picky who they wanted to roll up with.
Mhm.
Right.
And they want to stay small enough that they can be boutique and work with their clients at more of a one-on-one face-to-face level, which you don't get in some of the bigger institutions where they just got a lot of people. But this goes back to what Freedom Fighter says. There are only so many people or so many assets under management that each one of these people can do. And it's like I put in the room, would you want a
Mhm.
public defender to defend you, or do you want the best your money can buy to assist you?
That was one of those nuggets that you shared that leaped off the page, and I was like, oh my goodness, I have to pay attention to this. This is an important piece of information right here. You know, everything that you drop is fabulous,
Mhm.
but some jump out at you, and you have to pay attention, and you can't let them escape you, because some things are timing is everything.
Yes.
And like back to what Freedom Fighter was saying at the beginning of the call, my feeling is when people try to skip the steps, they miss the experience that the process provides.
Mhm.
And then you're shortchanging yourself. You're the only one you're hurting is yourself. And you miss those nuances that happen by taking each step progressively. Wiley, you've been so generous in providing these questions and all the wisdom that you've dumped that we've been taking notes on, and we're able to speak intelligently to them. And I think sometimes these people are actually surprised that a layperson, a retail person, can have this kind of a conversation. And it's just simply because of the information that you shared with us.
Mhm.
Well, I'd love to take credit for all of that, but I've spent my last 20 years picking the brains of these people when I go hang out with them and doing this stuff for myself. I wish I had somebody to tell you what I'm telling all you. I wish I would have had somebody in my corner telling me all of that. So I'm giving you a lifetime of experience of errors and trials and tribulations that I know work, and I'm trying to steer you all from what doesn't work. And I've been around this community a long enough time that I know you can't approach the bank with what others are telling you. It won't work. So that's why we've come up, and the tribe really came up with those steps based upon what we were, Freedom Fighter and myself, were having people do. So it's really been a communal effort of everybody coming together to help everybody succeed and putting steps together to build the process we have now.
And clearly it's a process that works. It's worked for all those other people that we've already heard from in the room. Their success stories are exciting and informative and very encouraging. And they help people feel like, well, I guess if they can do it, then so can I.
You mentioned the steps, and that's so very important. And it's not the steps per se that important. That just gives you the map. The real purpose of those steps is to show you what you need to do, because you are going to, when Freedom Fighter, Goldilocks, Wiley are gone, you will use those same steps the rest of your life in wealth management to build the next relationship, the next one, and the next one. Because you just don't need a guy that manages money. You're going to need a trust attorney. You're going to need a personal attorney. You're going to need a CPA. You're going to need a tax accountant. You're going to need all these people, and you've got to have that in your toolbox to go build relationships with those folks. If they're not pre-built into your team. I know some people already have them pre-built in their team, and some don't offer that, so they'll have to be acquired.
The gentleman with whom I spoke yesterday said that they work with certain CPAs and tax professionals, and then they also work, like I said in the post, with local trust attorneys. We told them that we already had a simple revocable trust. We've had that for a number of years, but I think we're going to have to modify that, because what we've learned from you is to get it out of your personal name. And our personal name is blasted all over the top of the title of the trust. So I'm like, okay, we need to make a little adjustment here. And, so they already have a group of people they work with. And that was the other thing, surprisingly, with that very, very large bank. They are just coming into having a presence in the state where I dwell. And I mean, the branch was literally a month old. So they have no contacts built up in the community either at this juncture.
Perfect timing for you.
Yeah.
I mean, timing is everything. So, Yep. And he told us yesterday, if we choose to go with them, which we are, just to get things locked in and get things moving forward, then he can help us more clearly put together that strategy. In fact, he said he was going to email me a summary of the notes that he had taken during our meeting yesterday, and it's Saturday, so I haven't seen it yet, but I anticipate that. And he just seems like he's been doing what he's doing for 13 years, but he's a young guy. So I think he probably jumped right into this sort of business early on in his life.
Okay.
And he loves what he's doing, and he really enjoys the guy with whom he, partners and stuff. So I think they'll be able to help us. I mean, he talked about a number of different things, but in general terms, because we weren't specific with all of the, assets we had. And he asked me, do you have a ballpark of what's your net worth right now? And we told him, and he's like, okay, we can add that to what you believe is coming in. So.
Yeah. I think that's where people sell them short oftentimes, is they truly don't understand what their net worth is, because they think it's tied to my money in a bank. There's more things that make up your net worth than just financial in a bank. People, and I think that more people will understand that when they start getting into wealth management, they start talking to them. But now, by you doing this, do you really see the importance of having these guys in your corner? I like to call them your training wheels, because you're doing something new, you're not quite sure, and you want somebody there to kind of help you so you don't fall off or do the wrong thing. But after a while, you're going to be like, hey, I can ride this bike without them. I don't need the training wheels, because you're going to learn a lot from these folks. You really will.
And I'm a lifelong learner. I love to learn things. So as long as I don't wear them out with my many questions, it'll be a great adventure for both my husband and I. And we definitely need their expertise and the connections that they have, the relationships that they've already got going on, because we want to obviously maximize our opportunity. This is an opportunity that, anybody with two eyes in their head can see is very unusual and unique. It's not
right. And it won't be
common
coming
thing.
back around. Not at this
No.
level. And a Forex
No.
transaction will never happen at this level.
Right.
So that's why Freedom Fighter and I are so adamant. Sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, you called me lazy. You did this. We do it because we care, and we're trying to motivate you, or not you, Miss D, but just motivate them to get up and do this. Because when you get off of that roller coaster of listening to the today talk, and the anxiety and the stress that's being built for folks out there, and you get your legs underneath you for yourself and your wealth and your family, you own it. It's now in your control, and now you are the one with your destiny. When this happens, you're set with your team, not knowing what a redemption center truly is, not knowing where these are, not knowing where you're going to go. Misty and family now have a plan that's gearing up to be generationally driven.
Right.
And your team is that for you.
Interestingly, we originally thought, before we saw some of the notes you shared, that we would help our son and daughter-in-law. They have an 8-month-old baby, and help them by going, oh, wouldn't it be exciting to buy them a house? And wouldn't it be exciting to help them? And all this kind of stuff. And then I just kind of stopped one day and I thought, why would I want to help them when I can empower them? And so we had several intense conversations while they were here over Christmas. And I laid out information for them so that they could make an informed decision. And they decided, to a lesser degree, to get on board with some of these currencies and things like that. And I would much rather have them take care of themselves than us do that for them. Especially when Wiley's going, don't give your money to your kids just outright like that. I'm like, oh yes, that makes sense. Yeah. So
beautiful.
When people don't have skin in it, they don't learn anything from it. And if somebody's bad with their money, they're going to be twice as bad with your money.
Agreed.
But
that
you realize that you said
profound.
you wanted to, you did say you wanted to do some charitable things, correct?
Yes.
Well, think about this. You could set up a trust that's managed by your agent, your lawyer, whoever you designate, right? And they manage the money. You and your husband could hire your child to sit on that foundational board with you and pay them an annual fee, $100,000, whatever you want to pay them. And there's tax incentives for that too that you could do. And you can do a self-depleted charitable trust, and you can give that monies away. I think it's 5 years you have to give those monies away that you put in there. Now you can replenish it, but when you step forward, it's every 5 years what you come in with it every year. On the 5th year, the monies you brought in 5 years earlier have to be depleted out of it. But you can do your charitable givings out of that and bring your children into something you're doing, so that when you're gone, they're still that working and they very much understand the business you had.
Oh my goodness, I'm writing, scribbling. Hopefully I can read this when we get off the call. That statement, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, these are things work with your teams on. Okay, they can help you set this up. Talk to them about it. They will tell you, based upon your ideas, the best way to structure those. And your trust attorney is going to be the best in this. Kind of voice this to them a little bit. But you can hire your children, and there's some tax incentives and things you can do in that and bring them on board to work with you as a job so they understand in perpetuity what you want long beyond you.
Mm-hmm.
Fabulous. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that we did tell this gentleman, Grant, yesterday was, and I had actually been on a call, a long time ago, and I had asked a question, and Wiley, you had answered it, and the question was, we would like to give $1 million to our church, and or if the amount that we receive in gross, we're tithers, so we tithe on that. If that's more than $1 million, how would we do that? And so I posed that question to this gentleman yesterday, and he said, well, do you want to do it in one lump sum, or do you want to do it like in a donor advised fund? And I said, no, I'm familiar with that term. Our church just started accepting donor advised funds. So when we go with them and everything is funded, then we will have a greater detailed conversation about how we want to do that. But that's the first place we'll be funneling charitable donations and such.
Yeah, and be careful of that a little bit, because the last thing you really want is the deacons or the church board or any of that really dropping your name accidentally in conversations of things you're doing, because that could open a Pandora's box of people coming to you. So
I remember you said that.
Kind of do it anonymously through that through that organization, through your team.
Okay.
And your trust, your attorney, whoever can make those donations for you on behalf of a benefactor.
Understood. And I think that's good counsel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we don't want to err. And the last thing we want that we have, I've learned from you is nobody needs to know what you have.
No, no one does.
Because then the suckers come out of the woodwork and people start looking at you like you're going to solve my problem, instead of having, going to God and having him be your source. And then they get angry and they get resentful when you're not led by the Lord to go do something for them. So that's a whole, why open that can of worms if you don't have to?
And the proof to that is just go out to any of the lottery sites in your state, type it in, look it up, and read all the stories about the people that won it. Then go Google their name and see where they're at today. They're broke, in prison, or it's horror story after horror story after horror story, because they never had the proper counsel. They never got the proper wealth management. They never put the proper people in place, and they never accepted the funds in a proper manner because they never learned that or were taught that. And that's not on them. That's just on our society that we don't do that.
True.
So, I mean, if it was me, I win the lottery, man, I'm opening a blind trust. My attorney will accept the monies. No one knows it's me. They just know my attorney, and no one's going to know Wiley's got this money. But
exactly. Awesome.
One thing I've been banging away.
One second, Ms. D. Yeah, we're going to have to continue. So thank you so much for everything, for sharing your story, for being such an inspiration. We have some other people to get to, and we got a short time to get to the articles, but we appreciate it. Thank you so much, and keep us updated. Thank you
for the invitation. I will.
Yes. Absolutely. And whatever we can do to continue to help you, of course, the tribe is here for you.
Bless you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. All right. You got it. Bye-bye. Ty, too pretty. Folks, you all have heard from Ty. Last Saturday was his second update. The Saturday before that was his first update. This is the young man who lurked in the room for a while, just like Mrs. D. And this is the young man, 26 years old, 3-year-old daughter, went to his wealth manager meeting with him and got carved up, sugared up in the whole 9 yards with the wealth manager. And also, just like Miss D, it came up in conversation with Ty and his wealth manager, whereby the wealth manager shared with Ty that he himself has foreign currency. This is the latest update that Ty shared into the room just the other day. It was phenomenal, short and sweet. It says, I'm late to the room, but good afternoon. My wealth manager set up my brokerage accounts and giving/CDA account this morning. Now I'm just waiting to exchange. And he just dropped the mic and left. Ty, amazing. So now you have your account, your brokerage account set up, just like Zach and Amber, glass half full. Many of the members, their account set up for the money to go into in the exchange. Fill us in real quick.
So yeah, he just hit me up, gave me a quick call. Of course, he knows after 9 a.m. I'm available. So I think around like 10 o'clock, 10:30, he gave me a call, told me, got my login password, created that, logged into the account, and everything is there. It just says zero. That's it. But it's all there.
Just waiting for the exchange to happen, and boom, your account is there. Your money grows, your millions, your generational wealth goes in, and they can start getting your money working for you and your family.
Yes, and then I just got him. He invited me to it's called what is it called? An investment webinar.
Okay.
So like the latest technology, some 10 years, 15 years out from now. Just opportunities to invest in their AI space, synthetic biology, even prosthetics. What else? Construction overseas, like resorts overseas, water parks, that kind of thing. So I'm just really just waiting. I'm waiting and just looking for things to put my money into.
So you're RV ready. You're exchange ready. Your language was exchange ready. You're ready right now. Just waiting for the RV.
That's it. I have a sense of peace. I'm at peace right now. So yeah, I'm safe to say that I'm ready.
And this was what was it 2-3 meetings that you had with this particular firm? Is that it? 3 or 2?
2 meetings regarding just business, but before that it was just we talked maybe 3 times over the phone, and that was just once again just regular guy talking sports, what I'm into, what he's into. And then I asked him, then I started getting into the money and the business, and then that's when everything else kind of opened up.
So it sounds like you and folks, you're hearing what Ty did was he built a rapport. He established a relationship with this particular wealth manager. And then eventually currencies came up.
Yes. And he brought it up first. Just like Ms. D, her wealth manager brought it up. And what I know a lot of you listening to this is what we've been getting in the room. People coming to the room and just wanting to figure out what to say in order for the wealth manager to talk about currency. People, you cannot force it. You cannot push it. You must do what Ty did, what Miss D did, many of the other members did. And this is what Wiley and myself have been stressing, is to establish your relationship first. It's not about going in there to see what you can say in order for the currency discussion to come up. Just follow the steps. Take your time. You'll be just fine. Build your relationship first. And like Wiley mentioned to you a few minutes ago, one of the major reasons is because of what the gurus did with many of these banks around the country years ago. They calling the banks, sending people there, just a bunch of garbage, because the gurus, they're clueless. Just think about it. They were sending, and Wiley, if you want to come on and with Ty, and this is something that you know very well as well. Think about the gurus have been sending people to the banks years ago and put a bad taste in the bank's mouth, but then turn around and come to their calls and tell people they're going to go to redemption centers.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
A lot of hubris, right? Yeah.
Right. Isn't it amazing where Ty is now within a few short meetings with his wealth manager?
Ty, I tell you what, and I'm sorry I wasn't on with you last week, but man, I used to hire people younger than you that I couldn't motivate how you are motivating. I would have loved to have 3 of you, and I had 36 of them, and I didn't have that much gumption between 36. And I hate to say that. You sat back, you listened, you took notes. You said, I went back, listened to a couple podcasts, came back in here, and I just went out and did it. What? You just went and did it? I mean, yeah. I mean, You know what? If your family ain't proud of you, I'm gonna tell you right now, I am, because I know your age and I know what it takes for somebody your age to get the nerve up to even go do that.
Yeah, I mean, I've also watched my mother handle business also because she's dealt with, I would say, wealth managers, and
Mm-hmm.
so I've kind of seen it. She
Good
knows
deal.
how to talk, be
Yeah.
professional.
So you had a bit of a role model to understand Ty's got to get down to Ty's business.
Oh yes,
And the only one going to handle Ty's business is Ty.
oh yes. My mother, she doesn't even know I'm doing any of this neither. So
Well,
it's
that's what I'm saying. Ty knew he had to handle it because
yeah,
Wiley's not going to do it. Freedom's not going to do it. Goldilocks ain't going to go do it for you. You got to do it.
yep.
And there ain't no
Beautiful.
guru out there going to do it for you. Hey, let me ask you this. You nowhere in that when you said brokerage accounts and all that, when did they set up your QFS account? You never said.
Nope. I didn't get none of that. I didn't get none of that stuff.
I'm playing. You know I know there ain't no such thing as QFS account. So yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
But yeah, it
Gurus,
was
they just
very I've learned a lot from him, from a wealth manager. And the last couple months has been very, at first it hit me kind of hard at first. I'm like, whoa, okay, all this new information that I have to learn.
Yeah.
And then once I just kept, I would say, just being repetitive with it, just listening to videos, just reading up on stuff. Even when I mentioned Dynasty Trust to him, he's like, oh, somebody's been doing their homework. And I was like, I guess so.
Because you're talking to him at his level of what he
Right.
understands. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. You don't have to know the ins and outs. As long as you got the name, they know what you want to talk about. They know what you're interested in.
Exactly. And he even discussed as far as with the Dynasty Trust, as far as like the lawyers, because lawyers get paid by the hour. So,
yeah. Yep.
And he said, we're going to set that up first and then go to a lawyer and just get it done right then and there. Don't go to a lawyer without a plan.
Oh, absolutely. And what I like about your guy is you and him have a bit of a rapport with the athletics and the sports and the stuff you like. So to you, it's like going to have a conversation with a friend or a buddy. Hey, how'd you think that game last night? What'd you think about this? Oh, hey, why not? Here, let's handle a little business. And then you'll probably end up on the sports again. And then you'll hear something from him and be like, hey, next time I'm back, let's talk about that. That's what I call relationship building, because it's effortless, it's seamless, and you're handling your business while building a relationship and friendship.
Yeah, most definitely. It's important to have a relationship with them because, they're managing your money. So
Absolutely. But I'm impressed by you, son, because you went to some of the big players. You went to a place that handles some pretty well-to-do folks right now.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Professional athletes.
Absolutely. And kudos, most people wouldn't have done and stepped out how far you stepped out to go do this. And you remind me a little bit of a Lady Unique a bit, and she didn't settle for nothing. PR don't settle for nothing. That will carry you far in this world with that mentality.
Oh, yes, most definitely. I hold myself to a standard. And plus, I graduated from I would say, what most people I would say in like the HBCU community are pretty prestigious college. So even when I wear it out in public, I'm already held to a standard as is.
No, see, I can tell by the way you are, just how you are and what you're doing and what you went and did. I can already tell you hold yourself to a higher standard. And you keep that up, my man. And your family is going to be well rewarded. Your children's children are going to be thankful that Grandpa did all this when he was 26 years old.
Right. Absolutely.
And I don't mean to be your age. I really don't, because I think it's great that somebody so young. Ty, I've been in this 20 years.
Almost long as he was living.
Exactly. And somebody at your young age sees the value and possibility of this and done their own due diligence and then went forward to step out and ensure that they had their business at the bank handled. Excellent. All I can say to you is excellent. I want to buy you a steak dinner.
Before we go to the next one, Wiley, I'm not sure if you were able to be on the call last Saturday when Ty mentioned that the wealth manager. This is a testament to the relationship he built, where the wealth manager offered to negotiate rates for his exchange.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because not everybody can do that. Only somebody who is licensed in that business can go do that for somebody else. And that's phenomenal, Ty, that you have that if you want it.
Because that's I asked him a question regarding, the foreign currency. I just asked him, when I come back from outside of the country, I said, what can I do, with the leftover currency that I have? And then, he just explained, you can negotiate exchange rates, this and that. But he said the amount that I have, I think how you put it, he was a what is it called? A fiduciary.
Fiduciary.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said he's able to negotiate exchange rates.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly, maybe, who knows? Because the international market and the market rates, they could be different. So.
Because he works at a higher level to deal directly into the Forex markets, where you, I, and others, just as the average person who invests, we don't have that. We just go to an exchange window, and the daily rate's the daily rate.
Exactly. So
yeah, you've really worked your way into an area where you have some opportunities to take if you so choose. So I would encourage you to nurture that a bit, and what's on the table for you as we get closer to this.
Yes, I'm doing everything I can. I'm treating it as like, I kind of look at it as like, I got one shot, so I'm gonna do everything I can just to get all the ducks I need to get in order. And when I first figured out this, this information, and I kept hearing, the little crazy dates, it just wasn't making sense. It just wasn't making any sense at all.
So the weekly dates and all that garbage.
I'm like,
they've been saying that for 20 years, brother. 20 years I've heard today, this week, that weekend. 20 years. And this causes anxiety, frustration, stress, all the things that people don't need because they don't understand the investment they're in. You're miles ahead. Everybody who's taken this step and got a relationship with the banker are miles ahead. A lot of you included, already have a big hurdle done, and they're already talking to you about the currencies because they know that's where you're at.
Yeah. And then also he made it actually very comfortable as far as like asking, what would I do with the money, that kind of thing. And then he basically said, like he said, when you exchange, when your wealth comes in, he said you're not gonna have to worry about as far as, do I have enough to buy this house? Do I have enough to buy this car? It's just gonna be there. And then he asked me what's the first thing I was gonna do with the money. I just said, I don't know. I said I'm just gonna disappear for a little bit and just unwind.
And that sounds familiar.
Yeah,
that sounds familiar, Wally.
Yeah, it does. Before you buy a car or before you buy a house outright, ask to talk to their mortgage department, invest the money, and have their mortgage services handle all that for you through an investment arm.
Okay, yeah. And I also brought up as far as like, dealing with trust, because I kind of I told him that I don't want to own anything, but I want to control it. That makes sense.
Absolutely.
There you go, Rockefeller.
Yeah.
What did he say to that when you said that?
He just smiled.
He knew you doing your homework.
Right. Exactly. He knew that.
He's probably, and I think this is why you've gotten so far with him, because your age says one thing when he's looking at you. He's playing cards with you, right? He's playing poker, and you got one look on your face says, "Hey, I'm only 6 years old," but everything coming out of you says, "Hey, I got more than what you think I'm holding." And it makes him stand back and say, "Man, I want this guy. I want that guy as a client because he's fastidious. He knows what he's talking about. That's a guy I can work with."
Yeah. And then once again, when he found out what college I graduated from, once again it was that he was like, "Oh, you graduated from here?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." "Oh, okay."
It's
Yeah.
part of that
So
relationship.
he already put something on my head with that.
Yeah. Freedom Fighter, he's impressed with Ty, just the way Ty carries
Very
himself,
much
the
so.
way he's talking,
Yeah.
what he's talking about, the education he pulled from the room and applied
Yeah.
it into his
Yeah.
favor. And this guy's like, man, Ty is a guy I want.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a good point. That Ty is the guy that the wealth manager wants to work with. Because also on the call last week, Ty had mentioned that his wealth manager, his firm, he only has 35 clients, and with a $1 billion under assets under management, and they're not really going to take any more clients. Ty is sort of like an exception that they're going to take on as an additional client.
Yeah.
Huge. Ty, if you don't understand, you've impressed the guy.
And I don't know if I had mentioned before, but I think he's set to like maybe retire in maybe like 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And he said even after he retires, I'll have like the amount of money I'm gonna have in my net worth. He'll be able to still do business with me even after he retires.
Man, that is
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Beautiful. And I think there'll be someone else, Ty, that he will have assigned to you just in case as well, I think, or
yes.
mistake.
Yes. Like
Okay.
if something was to happen to him or
Happen
anything,
to him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something was to happen to him, there's already somebody next in line that knows everything. Nothing is going to change in my wealth plan at all. Only difference is that I'm just going to have somebody else managing it, really. But nothing else stays, nothing changes.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Congratulations, man. We are so proud of you. You're like the tribe's son. We're so proud of you, man. So proud. And
well, Monday morning, I'm calling my wealth manager and saying, "Hey, I met this 26-year-old that's getting this, this, and this, and you haven't mentioned any of that one."
Right? His wealth managers have raised the bar.
Yeah, now I'm thinking like, I need to go have a conversation.
Oh man. Congratulations, Todd, man. Let's say we're so proud of you, man. So excited. Thank you for sharing. And hold on, we're going to get to String Being and her quick story, and then we got amazing updates on the RV that we're going to share. So just hold tight, okay? All right. Garlic String Being, if you come to the microphone, please, young lady.
Hello.
Hey, young lady. Now, you all right?
Yes, I am.
Now, you're folks, String Being, you all probably have heard String Being. She's, we thought she was already set with her wealth manager, just like Ty. She's ready for exchange. She's gone through the process. And you're talking about detailed and thorough notes. This is Garlic String Being. Her and also Sally I Am used to have potlucks at Sally's hair salon over the years with the guru stuff, but they came to the light. And you've heard several of her updates, and I got to share with you this last thing she posted into the room. She says, I have an update with my private wealth manager firm. This was yesterday, folks. Working out details and hope to share here with the tribe next week. Me, I'm like, oh, you've been busy. And I asked her, is this the same private wealth management firm or a different one? She's like, it's one that lives 4 hours away, and I'm excited with how it's going. And I'm thinking to myself, String Being, I'm like, did you just get another wealth manager? And then you said they're 4 hours away. So I was just shocked because I'm like, I thought you were ready, just waiting for the exchange to happen. So I responded, okay, 4 hours away. You ain't playing. And I'm asking you, was this meeting by Zoom? Ladies and gentlemen, I thought she's going to meet by Zoom with this private wealth manager just 4 hours away. This is her response. She says, real humbly, she says, let's just say we're working out the details for him to fly in for lunch. His suggestion. What? Wait, what? So this wealth manager is considering getting on an airplane. He's 4 hours away. He's considering flying in to have lunch with you. What the
Yes.
what? How did this happen? Please fill us in.
Okay. So let me back up a little bit. We already have Bank A, and that's local, which is what was my first one. And we have the tier one bank, but also wealth manager. But after listening to so many people's stories, I thought, I need to check and see what else is out there. So decided to do that. Fast forward to November, and I began to research private wealth managers, companies. And I had someone reach out to me, and I asked if I could talk to them about as far as what they do. So after that, got his information, and he had sent me his information and email, telephone numbers. All of this is through email. So initially, he wanted to talk to me, and I said, that's fine. He said, do you want to do a Zoom, or would you like to do like a phone call? And I said, we can do a phone call. That was our initial. And this was back like November the 15th.
Okay.
So from that point, I asked him if I could send him some questions that I would like to, things to discuss. And he said, sure. And that was like November the 15th. So that night, he actually sent me an email. He said, thank you for all the questions. And those questions were very good. And he said they were very thoughtful questions and the right ones to be asking. So I'm like, okay. So did that. And he said, we will set up a time. So we set up a time. Fast forward, I think it was like maybe 2 weeks later. And we set up a time to talk on the phone. So after we did that, we talked on the phone for about an hour. And it was a very, very good conversation because we had a lot of things in common as far as values and some of the things that he actually does in his own personal time. So there was that connection there. But I also love the fact that we went over the questions. We went over the questions just like Bank A did, that person that I met in person. This person also took the time to answer the questions and went over each one, made sure I understood if I had any questions. Okay, fast forward to December. My family, we were going to go to the state that he lives in because we have family there. And we were supposed to meet with him the day after Christmas. Well, what ended up happening that the day after Christmas, that morning, there was a storm coming through, a pretty bad storm that was coming through. And we had to change that so that we can hit the road because we were driving, so that we could get out of there before the storm. Although we ended up running into the storm the first 2 hours, just getting out of that state. And so after that happened, he sent an email wishing me, as far as my family, a happy new year, and that he was looking forward to meeting with us in the future. Okay, so fast forward this past week. This past week, he sent an email, and he had sent me like their quarterly report. And he just wanted me, it was like a 33-page report, and just wanted me to see how their records and how they did as far as business, so I could see what they do for their clients and, the ups and downs with things. So we did that, and he sent me the attachment, and he said, by the way, I would love to see your availability because he said, I would love to be able to come up to see you guys. And this will include my husband. Yay. I'm getting him in there. So, and so he gave us some dates to look at. And the first date that he had given us, we're actually going to be gone that week. So that wasn't going to work. So the second date worked better for us. So we're actually, and I needed to correct that with you, our second date that he had given us will be in February. So we will be seeing him in February. It was February the 27th. And so meanwhile, between that time, the time that we have right now, he is going to be sending us information for us to look at. And so my husband and I are going to take the time to look at that information and look at what we truly want to do, because I realized just from the beginning of being in the group with you guys, Freedom, and where we are now, mindsets changed. And things that I thought was important, it really isn't. It's a whole different mindset. And so we're sitting down and really looking at how do we want to do things? What do we want to
How you
have
gonna
for
spend
our
your money?
future? And how do we want our money handled so that when he comes in, and he gave us the option of lunch or dinner, and he has a flight leaving out that evening. So we
Okay.
decided to do lunch only because the time won't be rushed. This
Right.
will give us the
Right.
time to really sit and really kind of pick his brains
Right.
and see
Right.
what he has to offer.
Yeah.
Because one of the interesting things I hear people in the chat room always talk about how, what if they ask where your money is coming from? Or when you say you have an inheritance coming, then they want to know who it's from or that kind of thing. And that was asked of us as well, or asked of me, because I was the one that initiated it. And how I flipped that, I just basically said, we have other people that we are talking to, and we're just trying to find the right fit for us. And that's
Yep.
how I left it with that. And he never asked again.
You took
He never
control.
asked about that. So, but I also know, with us having the later date, although the other date didn't work out,
Uh-huh.
the one in February, that's actually okay, because we know from all the information we're getting with the articles, Goldilocks and the articles, we've got time.
Got time.
We've got
Exactly.
time. And so this is giving us, for the next step, to be able to tweak our plan,
Get prepared.
because I would like to be able to send him some information to say, these are the things that we have discussed. Because he, on that first initial phone call, he spent over an hour talking to me. And I was trying to write down as fast as I could, but I would like to put something in writing so he can bring something with him.
Right. So that he does his homework and prepares for you.
And so that's the plan. And with Wiley's permission, when the room is open, I would love to DM Wiley, because I have
Yeah.
some questions, because I want to
Why
make sure we're going in knowing
prepare? Yeah.
what we're doing.
While you want to jump in here, perfect segue.
Hey, String Bean, you send me those anytime, girl. And I'm your guy. I'll look at them.
Thank you.
We'll hash something out. We'll make sure they come across the way that you want them to come across, and make sure that meeting's a solid meeting for you. But do you understand, by him flying in, he's trying to get you not trying to get him?
Yes. I had to look at that email and read it several times. Like, am I really seeing he wants to fly in to meet us?
Yeah, see, now you
And
were
it's
interviewing
just,
people. He flipped the script. He's like, hey, based upon this girl's conversation, based upon everything I've known, based upon the little investigation we've done inside the bank, we want to talk to Mr. and Mrs. Stringbean, and his bank executive board has said you get on that plane and you get out there and you meet those people.
yes,
Because they just don't fire up a plane, because I'm telling you, that's costing them $30,000 to $50,000 just to send it.
I agree. I agree. So this is exciting, because when you see this happening for you, you can hear it with other people that comes into the chat every day sharing their stories. And then when you see it happening for you,
For
it
yourself,
just
yeah.
brings such a peace.
And I'm so happy for you. You were amongst the first that came and did this. You jumped out there. You did it. You were set. You were on ready. And then you're just like, you know what? I want to know what else. What else is there?
Right.
And to me, I mean, I love all you ladies. I really do, because you are killing it amongst the guys. You, PR, Lady Unique, Brunette Grand, you ladies just don't let just well enough alone. You're like, I'm going to go further. What else is it? Is there something else? And I like that, because now you've got diversity and you're not even there yet. and you've got multiple avenues, multiple streams that you can go work with and diversify right out of the gate.
Yes, thank you.
And they're all going to work with you.
Right. It's
Well,
beautiful.
I did tell my husband, because he will be at that set after this meeting, and we get back on the live call. He will be on the call, so you guys will meet Mr. Stringbean.
Awesome.
Because
Awesome.
I want him. It's not just me. This is for our family. And I do get it. I understand. I took him through the guru fufu. I understand that. And eyes raised for, all of that.
Yeah.
And so, but he's listening to the videos, and he's listening. He doesn't get to get on the chat because he's at work. But he goes back and he listens to the YouTube videos and things. So he's come a long way, and he's seeing this is happening. And so I showed him the email about the wealth manager flying in and wanted to meet us for lunch. I thought, okay. He looked
But
at
String
me
Bean,
like,
do you
wow.
realize you took where you were? And yeah, I mean, you had Guru Brett, you're telling your husband, he's back there rolling his eyes, okay, whatever. And now he's like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, whatever you say, String Bean, ma'am, we're going to do.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
And it
And
kind of
it's
reminds
because
me
of the
of
girl.
Zach and Amber a little bit, because Freedom Fighter, they walked into the bank and they talked Guru Fufu right off the bat. The banker says, yeah, we're not going to do that. Then they're in the bank again. They're whispering near, hey, we're going to be doing that. You guys want to meet? Yeah, I'd like to sit down with you. Look where they are today.
Right.
Yes.
Screen Bean, this mirrors that a little bit for me, for you, and that I think they have an idea. I really do.
Yep.
And that's why they're coming to you. They want to get you locked in. And I really, really, just what you're saying to me in the conversation, I got a feeling they're trying to lock you in to say, hey, we really need to meet. We want to sit down. We want to get brokerage accounts. We want to get you structured. We want to put all your stuff together.
I appreciate it. It's just been really exciting. It's really exciting. And just a shout out to the chat room, because we have fun in there, but we learn. And you really, really, you don't think it's going in, it's going in. Because there's always truth dropped in there.
Yeah, we see you helping. We see you dragging others along and bring others to where you are. And what I really admire about you and you and Bonnie and Clyde out there, Sally, I am doing your thing. I see you too. And you haven't quit. You are minding your business, and that's what it takes in this. And when in wealth, you have to mind the business all the time. It's just like you don't want to get caught in the minutiae of the detail, because that's not your expertise. That's your team's expertise. You're the CEO making decisions constantly and having your team execute, but you need to know what's going on for them to execute. Good on you for doing all that.
Thank you.
Congratulations, beautiful.
Yeah,
and
what being deserved. Yeah.
What they're doing, Wiley, you make a good point. By them getting on this plane, by this gentleman getting on this plane, this is an investment that firm is making into you. This is an investment. Do you understand that, Stringer?
I'm telling you.
They are taking the step to invest, to go into their budget, to allocate the money, to have this gentleman get on that plane and come to you and take out his corporate American Express card and pay for that lunch for you and hubby, because he's coming to sell that firm in the hopes that you guys sign on the dot, eventually choose them. Although they'll just be one of a few that you choose. They don't care. They just want to be one. They just want to be in the game.
And that they sent you their executive summary of how well they did and what they do. They are trying to show you, hey, this is what we can do. Look at us a little bit. You know what I mean? Instead of you chasing, they're chasing.
And that's receipts right there. They're giving you receipts of what they can accomplish for you, what they can do, because they're showing you with the executive summary what they've already done. So that is proof, like saying, look, here, this is what we can do. We did it for these clients. We can do it for you.
Yeah. And String Bean, if you don't take anything away from this tonight but this, you did that. You impressed them that they want to chase you for that business.
Thank you.
I didn't
And
do it. Freedom didn't do it. You
Nope.
did it. You took the little bit we gave you and you put it to action and you made it work for you. Keep going.
I have to admit, when I looked at that 33 pages, my brain was going tilt, tilt, tilt. And it's like, okay, terminology I've never seen, but I'm going to learn it.
Mm.
And don't get caught in the minutia of learning everything, okay?
Okay.
You just need to know a little of a little.
That's it.
Okay.
It's their job to know a lot of that. You just need to know what it is that you want, drop the keywords to them, and they will drive.
Okay.
That's it.
And as you learn this stuff you're in, and you see returns and you see your receipts coming back on your assets they're managing, you massage that with them because now you're a team. You're working in unison like a well-oiled machine, back and forth, give and take. And you will see yourself grow as a person. You will see yourself grow financially. You will see yourself grow in ways you never knew or realized.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that he said that you have always said, Wally, and I got this out of the Wally Wisdom Notes, and just being in the chat is one of the humanitarian things that I desire to do. And he said, take your money. I know the exact type of account that you need for it. He said, but you want to use the interest of that
Yes.
and buy the property that you need for what you desire to do. And it was like, that's what Wiley said. That's exactly what you said.
And that's some of the worst advice I've seen the gurus give out there. It's like, hey, get your money, go buy all this, go do that, go do that. Well, how are you replenishing your money? But
He
now
said,
if you
live
go
off the
and you have
interest of
wealth
that.
management and you go invest it and you put the capital in and only spend the interest and you work with them to help you finance things through investment vehicles, your money never runs out because they're working with you on your plan.
Mm-hmm.
You've put a team around you in business, around your fund, and around what you want to do personally.
Mm-hmm.
And they're happy to do it because when you succeed, they succeed. It's a team. That's why I keep saying team. This is your new team. I'd love to say, Wiley, you're going to be here forever. Freedom Fighter, you're going to be here forever. We're going to help these people into perpetuity. That's just not true. That's the reality. We got to get you coached up. We got to get you to new teams. And girl, you got your new team. He's catering to you.
Excuse me. I want to know, just when you have lunch with this gentleman, I just want to know if you're going to order garlic string beans.
I hadn't thought about it, but I will
get a doggy bag.
You.
Thank you.
Just for you,
a little doggy bag. Yeah, now we talking.
And happy belated birthday, Wiley. And I'll be sending you your kale.
Oh, did you see?
I tell you, if I start getting kale, Freedom Fighter's got a world earful coming from me. I heard you tell people to mail it out, and I know some people that will.
Oh yeah. Okay, so some folks, some ideas. Oh, awesome. So garlic string bean, you ready to get into these articles showing exactly what President Trump is implementing?
Yes.
And ready to rock and roll and show what Goldilocks has been actually showing us for the last 5 years to get ready for what Trump is now doing?
Yes.
All right. Let's go. Folks, we are going to get going and show you the receipts. More receipts. My lady Unique, I just love when she posts that in the room. Now, what, folks, remember, this is the proper, speaking of QFS that Wiley was joking about earlier, the quantum financial system, folks, which is the new banking system, the proper, actual, technical name, when the bankers behind the scenes the central banks behind the scenes, the IMF, the Bank of International Settlements, the BRICS, Bretton Woods, you name it. The terminology that they use for the new banking system, which is the quantum financial system, is digital asset. I'm going to repeat it. The digital asset-based trading system. So just think of, I'm going to shorten it, the digital asset banking system. Why digital asset? Because all of the assets, the commodities, whether it's gold, silver, any precious metals, agriculture products, currency, cryptocurrency, they will have their assets, but they will have a digital representation of themselves in the new banking system. Therefore, it will be, you have your stable coins and you have your XRP. And we're going to get into that as well with ISO. But the digital, this is the actual terminology. And no. Do not go into your banks meeting with these wealth managers talking about, do y'all know about that digital asset system? Don't do that. I just want to preface that. Don't try to act like you know what you're saying when you don't. It's not necessary. Okay? But pay attention. We're going to show you the executive order that President Trump signed on January the 23rd, 2 days ago. Before we get to that executive order, which talks about digital assets, and this is what the new banking system that we need to be implemented and will be regulated for the RV to happen. It will be in the digital assets banking system. Again, the RV can and only will occur in the new digital asset banking system. Because what is the dinar going to be back with? A digital asset. Digital gold via XRP. The dong, same thing. The US dollar, same thing. Every paper currency that you've invested in will be backed by digital assets, so that when you exchange your money in the new banking system, and it will be a decentralized banking system, which means it's away from the banks. And we're going to touch on that too, because there's a little sneaky secret in Trump's executive order that I guarantee the vast majority of people out there haven't seen. And we're going to show it to you. And it's in our favor. But when it comes to digital assets, VRV, the RVGCR around the world, for all currencies that we hold, cryptocurrencies that we hold, can and only will occur by digital assets and the regulations to regulate digital assets. So now we're going to go to a screenshot that I shared. And for those on YouTube, click the link at the top of the description. You will meet amazing, beautiful people like Garlic String Bean, Ty and Mrs. D, and others share their wealth management stories. You can be next. First screenshot. I'm going to read a portion of it. This is by Goldilocks. Pay attention. Please intently pay attention to what I'm sharing. This is going to prove to you that Goldilocks has been showing anyone that was willing to pay attention exactly what is needed for the RV to occur. Goldilocks going back 5 years ago. And we're going to see it, the receipts right here. So for all of you that love to troll Goldilocks, imitation is the best form of flattery. For those that are in these other rooms repeating everything Goldilocks says, but tells people that the bad Goldilocks doesn't know what Goldilocks is talking about. You know, the debunkers. Someone needs to debunk the debunkers who have no clue. They're just trying to gain followers on the back of Goldilocks. No wonder why they have enough followers just to fill up a telephone booth. But let's get into this screenshot. First, bad news, Goldilocks says. It is going to take years for supply chains to return to normal. And here is the good news. Goldilocks is saying, you are witnessing the implementation of a new digital asset global economy. You are witnessing the implementation of a new digital asset global economy. Stream Bean, what is the date that Goldilocks wrote this?
October the 28th, 2021.
October the 28th, 2021. Yes. Folks, I promise you, most likely, Goldilocks is the only one, if anyone's been paying attention, that's been talking about the digital asset banking system. This is the first time you may have heard of it. But you can go back 5 years, and Goldilocks has been, this is the testament to the knowledge and experience and wherewithal that Goldilocks has pertaining to the RV. That Goldilocks can tell us 5 years ago, and we're going to get into what President Trump now you're going to see is mirroring exactly what Goldilocks has been saying. Next, Goldilocks says, update. Last week, the U.S. Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs issued a letter to all the big banks. Its contents include concerns over stable coins. Take a note on this. Stable coins and how they work. Goldilocks says stable coins represent currencies developed in each country. That's right, the currencies that we all hold. There was a selection process that took place to standardize applicable terms of use in redeeming certain coins. Time was spent defining how digital assets were different from the traditional assets, and how finding ways to make them consistent across digital asset trading platforms. Digital asset, when Goldilocks is saying digital assets were different from traditional assets, folks, traditional assets is the old banking system where there was no assets such as gold or silver, precious metals, nothing to back the currencies up. So the traditional assets is fiat. So Goldilocks is saying there was time spent defining how digital assets, think new banking system, were different from the traditional assets, meaning old fiat system. Digital assets, stable coins. What's the date of this article by Goldilocks, Stream Bean?
November the 29th, 2021.
So almost 4 years ago. So now then Goldilocks writes, stable coins are coins pegged to an asset such as gold, silver, and a country's currency, such as think of the dinar, think of Vietnam, so on, or some other asset. And folks, you must know, without gold, without precious metals, the RV can and will only occur with the gold-backed system, gold backing the dinar, gold backing the dong, gold backing the dollar, gold in the actual digital asset system, banking system. Then Goldilocks says, they are growing in number. What's growing in number? Stable coins are coins pegged to an asset, such as gold, silver, and a country's currency. They are growing in number this year at a fast pace. Stable coins are designed to stabilize the volatility that takes place inside cryptocurrencies. Herein lies the purpose in the use of a stablecoin that represents a country. As more of these stablecoins begin to surface, the transition into a global economy, meaning the new banking system through digital assets, are becoming reality. The Vietnamese dong is one of the latest ones to be digitized. What's the date of this article that Goldilocks posted?
March the 23rd, 2022.
So almost 3 years ago, Goldilocks is talking about stable coins, digital assets. 4 years ago, stable coins, digital assets. 5 years ago, stable coins, digital assets for the new banking system that Goldilocks is sharing. Like I said, I guarantee you, many of you never heard of it. I bet you heard of it's happening this week. I bet you heard it's happening this weekend. I bet you heard of Nasera Jacera. I bet you heard of high level sources. And I bet you also have heard delays. You may have been paying attention. No, not may. You've been paying attention and listening to the wrong people who have been focusing on selling you hope. And hope is like dope. And many of you inject it, you snort it, you sniff it. Some of you like Bill Clinton, you smoked but didn't inhale. You inhaled all that guru foo-foo for all this long. But Goldilocks has been saying for 5 years what the system needs for the RV to occur. Now let's get to what Donald Trump, our amazing new president, 47 of the United States, and his executive order that he signed on Thursday, January the 23rd. Stream Bean, if you can read up to section 2.
Okay.
Folks, pay attention to what she's saying because it's gonna blow your mind. Go ahead.
The White House, by the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, and in order to promote United States leadership in digital assets and financial technology.
Did you say digital assets?
Yes.
Okay, I thought my microphone and earphones that something I didn't hear you. Okay, go ahead.
In digital assets and financial technology while protecting economic liberty, it is hereby ordered as follows. Section 1, Purpose and Policies. A, the digital asset industry plays a crucial role in innovation and economic development in the United States, as well as our nation's international leadership. It is therefore the policy of my administration to support the responsible growth and use of digital assets, blockchain technology, and related technologies across all sectors of the economy, including by 1, protecting and promoting the ability of individual citizens and private sector entities alike to access and use for lawful purposes open public blockchain networks without persecution, including the ability to develop and deploy software, to participate in mining and validating, to transact with other persons without unlawful censorship, and to maintain self-custody of digital assets.
If you could read the next one too, please, beloved. Number 2.
The next one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 2, promoting and protecting the sovereignty of the United States dollar, including through actions to promote the development and growth of lawful and legitimate dollar-backed stablecoins worldwide.
Does this sound like what Goldilocks shared and posted 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago? Stable coins and digital assets?
Yes.
Is this not exactly what Goldilocks was telling you, folks, for 5 years? And here you have the executive order by President Trump. Covering exactly what Goldilocks was saying. This executive order does not say that you will exchange, redeem at a redemption center. It does not say Nasera Jacera. It says digital assets, stable coins. This is, and before this executive order, Chairman Hill came out and with a press release that on day 1 of the Trump administration, which was last Friday, January the 20th, that's Monday, January the 20th, that the new administration on day 1 would deliver regulatory framework for digital assets. And here we go, Thursday, President Trump, as he always promises, always delivers, the executive order to regulate digital assets which covers also stable coins. And then he followed up with a task force, a cryptocurrency task force that is specifically given the responsibility to report back to President Trump with the standards for the regulations so that they can be approved eventually through his administration. So he is putting the people in place, for example, over the SEC, over the Commodities Future Trade Commission. He's putting his people in place to prepare. And of course, several nominees going to cabinet positions. So when it's time for this task force to complete their study to report back to him for the regulations that the new digital asset-based system, banking system, is regulated. What does that do for our paper currencies? Our paper currencies need to have digital assets, need to have stable coins in order for them to revalue in the new system. Because the old traditional system cannot operate with digital assets in the new system. The old system is going on. It's going away, but it's still going to be there, sort of, kind of. But the new digital asset banking system, this is the golden age that Donald Trump is referring to. When he says in the executive order, by authority vested in me as president, by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, and in order to promote United States leadership in digital assets. It is digital assets in financial technology while protecting economic liberty. It is hereby ordered as follows. And then he goes on to talk about digital assets and stable coins. There will be no RV without digital assets and stable coins because the stable coins provide the stability that's needed in order to keep the value of the currency stable. That's what a stable coin does. Fiat, there is no stability. There is nothing backing it. There is nothing backing the US dollars. Fiat, it's thin air. Nothing backing the dinar or the dong or anything else. Thin air. Digital assets provide the stable coin stability in the gold, the silver, other commodities in order so when you exchange, it doesn't lose your money don't lose its value in the new digital system backed by digital assets, backed by digital gold, backed by digital silver, so forth and so on. This is Trump preparing the new system in order to do what he said 2017, 2018, when the reporter asked him, Mr. Trump, there's much devaluation with currencies. What are you going to do? He says, I'm going to level the playing field. Stable coins levels the playing field. For example, the United States will have the regulations for stablecoin. Now we have RLUSD, but to regulate the whole entire banking system, in order for the Iraqi dinar to be exchanged in the new digital asset banking system, the United States must have regulations for a stable coin. Why? Because what did Iraq do in November? Now just think, here we have President Trump coming in with an executive order and the crypto task force in order to come up with the regulations for the digital banking system. Just in November, Iraq passed their regulations for their digital banking system. They're ahead of us. We are actually behind. Europe, through MICA, they have their digital regulations. They're ahead of us. We're behind. We're trying to catch up with Iraq now for digital regulations, for digital asset regulations for the banking system. Again, 5 years ago, did it trip you out String being that this is, you see digital assets and stable coins, and Goldilocks has been talking about this, saying we need it for 5 years.
Yes.
Now, this is the sneaky secret. Folks, if you all recall, CBDCs, invasion of privacy, it was a major issue. Well, if you could read number 5, String being, what in this executive order did Donald Trump include? I don't even know if people even paid attention to this. But if you could read number 5, please.
Number 5, taking measures to protect Americans from the risks of central bank digital currencies, which is the CBDC, which threaten the stability of the financial system, individual privacy, and the sovereignty of the United States, including by prohibiting the establishment, issuance, circulation, and use of a CBDC within the jurisdiction of the United States.
Boom, right there within this executive order, folks, President Trump included the prohibiting by the establishment, issuance, circulation, and use of CBDCs within the United States. There will be no CBDCs. Therefore, the invasion of privacy, you don't have to worry about. It says, taking measures to protect Americans from the risk of CBDCs, which threaten the stability of the financial system, individual privacy, and the sovereignty of the United States, including by prohibiting the establishment of CBDCs within the United States. It's off the table. You don't have to worry about CBDCs. See, and this is also another thing that you all have to remember. It's important for you to establish your relationships with your wealth managers, because with wealth management, when you have your money also outside of the bank and in investments and other vehicles, it adds extra layer to protection to your money, and also privacy from the banks. But here in the executive order, did you know this was in the executive order, Garlic String Bean?
Oh, I didn't.
You didn't?
Until I read it.
Earlier when I sent it to you.
Yes.
Right. Now, if you can read section 2 definitions, we're going to get to digital assets. Then we're going to go to the next ISO, and then we're going to be done. Section 2 definitions.
Section 2 definitions.
And this is still a part of the executive order, folks. President Trump's executive order. Go ahead.
Section 2 definitions. A, for the purpose of this order, the term digital asset refers to any digital representation of value that is recorded on a distributed ledger, including cryptocurrencies, digital tokens, and stablecoins.
Are you smiling? I can hear you cracking over there. Why are you laughing? Why are you smiling when you're reading that? What hit your brain? What hit your brain?
Oh, cryptocurrency tokens.
Tokens, digital assets. It represents the digital. You folks have heard this before. Digital assets refers to any digital representation of value that is recorded on a distributed ledger. The digital representation of the dinar will be digital gold, VXRP, silver, digital representation of silver, digital representation of copper, digital representation of any commodity. Those are digital assets. So therefore, when you have the dinar, you have the dong, any other currency, the digital representation of the value of that dinar, of that dong, will be backed by the stable coins to provide the stability to back the currency. 5 years ago, Goldilocks was posting about this. 4 years ago, 3 years ago, you saw the receipts, So, folks, and for those that are listening, I encourage you to appreciate even more what Goldilocks is sharing with you on a daily basis. Not only has Goldilocks predicted and shown you what was going to happen and what was needed for the RV 5 years in advance, but it's 4 years, 3 years. You got folks that have been telling you for 20 years every weekend, and it hasn't happened. But you got Goldilocks tell you something's going to happen 5 years ahead of time. Goldilocks don't sell no hope for dope. You get rope-a-dope out there with these gurus. so now I can't help it sometimes, Dream Pete. So now we're going to get into foreign currency exchange in the messaging system that will allow the digital assets to move on the new digital asset banking system. And then we're going to take it on home after this. All right. I think you know which sections to read, Extreme Being. I forgot. So you go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. How will ISO 222 help banks in foreign currency exchange?
Okay, 1 second. Let me let folks know what ISO is. What ISO stands for. ISO, for those listening on YouTube, wherever, ISO, International Standardization Organization. International Standardization or Standardized Organization. ISO, International Standard Organization 222. And so when Stream Being reads this, you have an understanding, an idea of what it means. As a matter of fact, no, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
ISO is an international standard for financial messaging that uses a common language and set of messages to simplify global business communication. It's based on extensible markup language, which is in parentheses XML.
Okay, 1 second, beloved. She says international standard for financial messaging that uses a common language and set of messages to simplify global business communication. Think of ISO. Think of the international standard. It's codes. It's digital. This is all digital within the new digital banking system. And just so that you know, here in the United States, as of November the 19th, to be specific, November the 19th, 2023, all U.S. banks became compliant with ISO 222. And then last year, Europe became compliant with ISO 222. This is a messaging system, a common language within the banking system that XRP is compliant with ISO 222. The message, what's going to move the dinar through the digital banking system to be able to exchange into the US dollar? XRP. So you see ISO 220. This is the compliance protocol within the banking system now. This is new. This is not the old banking system. This is not the traditional banking system. This is the new banking system. This is how foreign currency exchange. So it says it's a common language. Think of ISO as a translator. You have someone that speaks Arabic, for example, and someone that speaks English. Neither one of them speak each other's language. But a translator can come in and communicate and translate from English to Arabic back and forth, because that translator speaks both languages. Think of that as a common language. So in order for there to be proper communication and understanding, there needs to be a translator between the two languages. So think of the Iraqi dinar as a language that needs to be translated into English. So think of the Iraqi dinar that needs to be exchanged into the US dollar. There needs to be a common language, a translator, to translate that Iraqi dinar currency and value into the US dollar value. The International Standard Organization, ISO 222, this is the translator. It speaks the common language. This is new for the new banking system. There was no common language in the old SWIFT system based on digital assets because it didn't exist. This is the new. Okay, go ahead, young lady.
XML is a computer language that banks use to exchange financial information. XML is used in ISO, a standard format for financial messages that aims to improve the efficiency of payment processing.
And when it mentions financial messages, folks, financial messages is exchanges as well, foreign currency exchanges and other transactions, financial transactions within the banking system, the new banking system based on ISO. Go ahead.
ISO will facilitate foreign currency exchange by providing a standardized, globally recognized system for financial transactions, which enables clear communication between banks across different countries, leading to faster, more accurate, and efficient cross-border payments with richer data for better transaction tracking and reconciliation.
Okay, if you could read the next one as well, under standardized data. Key points about how and then standardized data.
Okay. You want me to read what's underneath there?
Yes, please.
Okay. By defining a consistent structure for payment information, including details like currency codes, amounts, and beneficiary information, ISO ensures that data is easily understood by all participating institutions, minimizing errors and delays in exchange processes.
Now, she says by defining, this is how key points of how ISO 222 helps foreign currency exchange. By defining a consistent structure for payment information, think of exchanges, including details like currency codes. Now let's be specific. I know you know the answer to this, string being, what is the ISO code for the US dollar?
USD.
USD. Did you guys hear that? So did you know that the US dollar has a code? So what it says, by defining a consistent structure of payment information, including details like currency codes. Every currency has a code. What's the currency code? 3-letter code for the Iraqi dinar?
IQD.
IQD. And the Vietnamese dong is VND. These are currency. These are, folks, you don't even realize. You must understand your investment. There's an actual code. You heard of IQD. You didn't know that it was considered an international standard organization code. Yeah, I know. You're like, but it's not international. Yeah, we know that. It's just an international recognized code, folks. So there's a language that when you have the IQD that goes into the new banking system, that needs to be exchanged into USD, well, there needs to be a translator that speaks a common language. It's the ISO codes, the ISO messaging system. Now, let's get to, and there also is an ISO code for Zimbabwe. You can come into the QFS room. We'll share that with you someday. Let's get to the next one, the clearinghouse. Now, this next, folks, the clearinghouse interbank payment systems. This is how, when we exchange our currencies, they will electronically clear in the new banking system. And you must understand, in the new digital asset banking system, under the umbrella and under the push by President Trump executive order and getting the regulations in place with his task force to bring forth these regulations and the new digital asset banking system, it will all be done and cleared through the digital electronic clearinghouses. I mean, it's just think of behind the scenes. You won't see it, But it's all of this is done. The stable coins that President Trump is referring to in his executive order, the digital assets, all of this is in order for the revaluation to occur in the new digital system, but it will happen through the ISO 220, the currency codes. And here we have the clearinghouse, which will clear. So when you exchange your currency, you exchange the dinar for the US dollar, it has to clear in the system. It will be done within, it can be done instantly or within a day. Whereas the old banking system before the new compliance to ISO, it could have taken 3 to 4 days. But the new banking system, this is why President Trump is moving to regulate, to provide the legal regulatory framework in the new banking system to prepare for all of this. Go ahead, young lady.
The Clearinghouse Interbank Payment System, also known as CHIPS, network migrated to ISO on April the 8th, 2024. This made CHIPS the first high-value payment system in the United States to use the ISO message format.
Boom. On April the 8th, last year, the Clearinghouse, which is called CHIPS, Clearinghouse Interbank Payment Systems. So, and the term tells you what it is. Clearinghouse Interbank Payment System. So the clearinghouse, clearing of what? Clearing of financial transactions, clearing of deposits, clearing of withdrawals, clearing of exchanges. Clearinghouse Interbank Payment Systems Network migrated to ISO, the new system, April of last year. Now we need the regulations, which will now for all the banks in the United States to have a standardized legal framework to operate under. This is the whole entire purpose of the executive order and the task force that Trump created, is to provide the legal framework in the new banking, the new digital asset banking system, so that once the assets, currencies, gold, silver, everything moves digitally in the new banking system, the regulations are in force. And for those that may not remember, last year, Congress, the House and the Senate passed it, and Sleepy Joe vetoed the regulations, part of the regulations. And here we have Trump with executive order. Now it will be a more robust, well-rounded, ironclad regulations for the new banking system, which needs to be in place in order for the RV to happen. The RV must and only will occur in a regulated, legal, digital asset banking system. November of last year, we shared it with you by Goldilocks. That was printed in the Gazette. The digital banking laws that Iraq passed themselves, so that they are prepared legally for the new banking system. So they are prepared legally for when the value of the dinar changes in the new digital asset banking system. And here we have President Trump, executive order, January 23rd, to regulate digital asset banking system. This is to regulate, folks, what's needed in order for the RV to occur in the new digital asset banking system. Did you pick up what this all put down, streaming?
Yes, this is exciting.
So he comes in with the executive order, inaugurated on January the 20th. In 3 days, the executive order he signs, and putting his team in place telling them to come back with a whole full force of regulations needed for the new digital asset banking system. Ultimately, folks, that once that's done, the revaluation of all assets and the revaluation of currencies, paper currencies, cryptocurrencies, everything will be able to occur with laws, regulations that are in place in order for it to be legal. And also in order to protect us within the United States and our banking system.
Yeah.
This is President Trump's way of securing the RV, not specifically for it, but as a result of the executive order, as a result of the regulations. Ultimately, what it does is secures your exchanges. Well, hold up, not yours, ours, because I'm included in this. Our exchanges in the banking system. Europe already has done it through MiCA, markets and crypto assets. Europe has their digital regulations. Like I said, Iraq has theirs as of November. And we Johnny come latelys. But you've been hearing it was supposed to happen last week, week before that, week before that, week before that, or the last 20 years. Be careful who you follow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Mrs. D, if you're still here, and Ty, if you can unmute, we're going to bring you. I just want to thank you both. Wiley, if you can unmute as well, if you're still around, my good man. If there's anything you want to add, String Bean, anything you want to share, you want to add after all of this that you heard tonight, that you read tonight?
Just encouraging people to just continue to move forward. Spend time, as much time as you can in the chat room to learn. Mm-hmm. Wiley wisdom notes, learning from that, and just believe in yourself.
Beautiful. Folks, this is all to prepare you, and with establishing your relations with your bankers, with these wealth managers, all to prepare you for what you heard tonight and what Goldilocks has been saying for 5 years. 5 years. And now it's coming to pass, and you have the executive order from President Trump and exactly what Goldilocks has been talking about. Digital assets and stable coins for the new banking system. If you don't see the honor it is, the privilege to literally get direct information from Goldilocks on being able to tell you 5 years in advance of what even President Trump is now doing. Yeah, that's why imitation is the best form of flattery. You got these folks want to imitate Goldilocks, want to be Goldilocks. Makes sense. Wiley, anything you want to share, my good man?
No, and that's such a great breakdown, and such going back into history and pulling that forward and showing that there has always been a process. There's never been a kick of the can. The algorithm's off. Bankers got greedy. This, that. Yeah. I mean, my God, I've heard everything under the sun of why this hasn't gone. Mm-hmm. There has to be rules and regulatory policies in place so that we don't make the mistakes of the past.
That's right. That's right.
So great breakdown and analysis, Freedom Fighter. And I'm sure if Goldilocks is out there listening tonight, they're going to love that breakdown.
Awesome. All right, beautiful folks. Man, we did good with time. It's 11:05. Beautiful folks, thank you all for your participation, your inspiration, Mrs. D, Todd, and of course, my garlic string bean. Thank you, Wiley. We appreciate you. Everyone, have a good night.
Fighter, real quick, okay, who did you say you have next week already queued up, you said?
We have Eyebrow, Extraordinary, and there's one, and Kathy. So Kathy, extraordinary. I can't. I'll just say extraordinary. Extraordinary.
Yeah, well, he is
And
extraordinary because I love
yeah,
his story. Yes, it's great. Kathy's was
yes,
great too.
yep,
Yeah, folks, keep the stories coming to us. Truly do.
yep,
Keep them in. Keep them coming. We'll help you as we can.
yep. Awesome, awesome. All right, folks. Everyone have a good night. Be well. We love you. Take care. Bye bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.